This asinine, I want to pay off student debt, is an insult to the senior citizens, to the people who pay taxes, to people who decide, do I want to buy meat this week or pay for my medicine? That's hogwash. You got so many jobs, you got a great economy, let them work and pay off their bills just the way all of us do. That's the end of it.
Greg, you pay your bills on time.
You know it. Some of this I pay early.
You're very, very prudent.
Yeah.
I just we left that little bit on at the end with Greg Gutfeld to remind you that he's an absolutely horrendous comic. And the fact that he has gotten any success whatsoever on the right says a lot more about their low standards than his ability. But we want to focus on Jeanine Pirro there, because she is responding to the fact that the news came out this week that Joe Biden might be doing some student debt cancellation. In fact, right before we went live, Biden said he is not looking at canceling 50,000, but he is looking at making a decision in the next couple of weeks. So there is some, we don't know what that means. Maybe that means 100,000. 100,000 isn't 50.
Come on,
I doubt
John.
it. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But we'll get to that in one sec. I want to focus on Jeanine Pirro here because she was freaking out at the prospect of this happening, and she knows how to deliver for her audience. Her audience being really old, selfish people who think the idea that someone else might be able to get through their life without experiencing every bit of suffering that they did is the biggest moral. It's unacceptable for that to happen. Here's what's interesting though about Jeanine Pirro. She thinks you guys should get out there and pay your debts. So if you owe 30, 40, 50,000, that's on you. You should pay that. You get a job. If you didn't want to pay for it, you shouldn't have gotten the debt in the first place. That's for you, not for her. Because when she had debts, she wasn't exactly running to pay them off. Did you know that she ran for Senate once on the Republican ticket in New York? Now, she dropped out before the primary. Instead, she decided to run for Attorney General and won the Republican nomination unopposed. Makes it a little bit easier. She lost to Andrew Cuomo in the general election. And you can't run for office without spending some money. It's best though if you spend other people's money. So her campaign eventually tried to dissolve itself without paying off $600,000 left in debts. And by the way, when I say that it tried to dissolve itself, it had been years and years and years that they had just refused to pay the debts. And then they tried to just dissolve the whole thing. And the reason that they said they should be allowed to do that is, and this is according to a tweet from 2019 by Dave Leventhal, obviously friend of the show, was they said, well, we don't have to pay the debts. The statute of limitations is passed. But it only passed because you guys refused to pay the debts. So you having $30,000 so that you have an education, so that you could do everything that people tell you you're supposed to do, you have to pay that off. $600,000 owed to a bunch of small businesses that delivered services and products for her campaign. Screw them. Jeanine Pirro doesn't have to pay that off, Anna.
It shows you how the right wing is so full of it when they claim that, we don't need a social safety net. You need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Pulling yourself up by the bootstraps means getting an education so you can get a decent job and make decent money. But that requires you to take out an insane amount of loans that no person could pay off while they're in school. Like the right wing loves to say, well, I was working while I was going to college and I was able to pay for my books and my tuition. Yeah, we live in a different world now. Yeah. And if you look at the cost of tuition and fees, I mean, even if you compare it to just plain old inflation, it has outpaced inflation in every other sector of the economy. And then when you have that debt, you are not able to do away with it if you file for bankruptcy, thanks to the bankruptcy bill that, of course, Joe Biden had championed and succeeded in passing. Mm-hmm. And so while they say, well, if you took out the loans, you got to pay for it, they also will turn around and say that Donald Trump is a smart businessman because he went bankrupt 6 times. And when you go bankrupt as a businessman, you are able to do away with the loans that you owe to various lenders. So people like Donald Trump, smart businessman, students that are drowning in student loan debt when they were just trying to better their lives and pick themselves up by the bootstraps, lazy bums, get a job and shut up. That's what you get from the right wing.
100%. You were irresponsible just to want to get an education, whereas Jeanine Pirro was responsible. producing campaign ads, buying a couple $100,000 worth of Cabernet. These are necessary expenses, but you are being irresponsible. Anyway, earlier this month, she said to people, if you can't pay them, that's your problem. $600,000 in debt is your problem, actually. But anyway, she's not the only one that's freaking out. The prospect that the government might actually help you out instead of them. Mitt Romney tweeted, desperate polls call for desperate measures. Dems consider forgiving trillions in student loans, other bribe suggestions, forgive auto loans, forgive credit card debt, forgive mortgages, and put a wealth tax on the super rich to pay for it all. What could possibly go wrong? And I think a lot of people responded the way Ken Klippenstein responded. Great point, Senator. Let's do it. Yeah, I think that sounds actually pretty good. By the way, like the idea of like a debt jubilee, it's not a new thing, and it's got religious connotations. How is he unfamiliar with this? But anyway, other people clown on him too. You got Devin Nunes's cow saying, you have a car elevator. You don't get to opine on this. And then Representative Jim Jordan tweeted, canceling student loan debt is stupid. But yeah, why would he care? Why would he care, Anna?
Right, and look, the other thing I just want to quickly draw attention to is the fact that these are people who have gotten incredibly rich from taking positions that help enrich themselves. So, they're disconnected from reality because for Jeanine Pirro, it's like, yeah, just get hired by some right-wing rag where right-wing donors will funnel money right straight to your pockets as long as you say exactly what they want you to say, and then you'll be able to pay off your student loans. What's the problem? What's the problem? Just get elected into Congress so you can use insider information to trade individual stocks and outperform the stock market. What's the problem? That's what they're really thinking.
Exactly. So if you're watching as a conservative, those are rich ass people telling you that you should never receive any relief for your debt. But have fun watching their show. Really in your best interest.